Thailand. It's all about the food. It's the national pastime. Thai street food is the most accessible of all types of cooking in the kingdom. It's different from the food that's eaten at home. It's a hybridized cuisine, a blend of all the people who have come to Thailand. But for the Thais, it's not just about eating. Cooking and food is fundamental to their culture. It gives flavour and texture to their customs and traditions. The love of food is shared by all Thais, and some of the best eating can be found in the markets and on the streets. And here's where we begin this week's episode.
Dawn's well and truly broken now, and the fishermen behind me are just about done. They're unloading the final baskets of their nightly catch, and they'll soon be washing down their decks and going home to sleep. This pattern, this cycle continues day in and day out as the fishermen go and seek their catch and bring it to shore. It's a traditional cycle that goes on and on and on.
And if the catch is sufficient, the fishermen will take it to markets such as the ones at Mahachai or Sirachar.
Mahachai market is one of the great markets of Thailand. It is the seafood market that feeds Bangkok. It is at the junction of the Mekong River and also the Gulf of Thailand. Therefore, you have seafood and freshwater fish and all of its products sold here in all of its glorious bounty.
The markets themselves are filled with fish straight from the boats, but there's more, much more. There's mounds of guppy, that's shrimp paste, dried fish, sauces and condiments of all kinds. These fish will be sold onto smaller markets or sold on the street. The stall owners open well before dawn to receive their catch and close by early afternoon. Mahachai is a maze, but locals know which aisles to follow to find their favourite stalls.
ส่วนมากเนี่ย 50% จะเป็นพวกโรงแรมกับร้านอาหาร แล้วก็ 20% ก็เป็นพวกแม่ค้าที่เอาไปขายในกรุงเทพ ส่วนที่เหลือก็เป็นพวกซื้อปลีกไปทานเอง
หัวปลาลูกิวแกงส้มจ้ะ เอาไว้แกงส้ม หัวปลาลูกิวไว้แกงส้ม อันนี้มีตัวปลาด้วยค่ะ ตัวปลาไว้แกงส้ม
There are many varieties of fish that are caught just to be dried.
This is pla in si kem, which is Spanish mackerel dried in the sun. I'm often struck how fish are just dried in the sun and yet still they don't go off. It's one of the strange, peculiar things that happens in this country where things are preserved naturally with very few chemicals and yet don't go off. I'm buggered if I know why.
There are all kinds of fish, salted and preserved to varying degrees. Freshwater, saltwater, dyed, large and small, squid as well as prawns. And here are mounds of shrimp paste, really one of the most important components of Thai cooking.
I used to be appalled by guppy Thai shrimp paste, but now, having lived here for such a while, I realise it is the true soul of Thai cooking. Murky and unpromising though it might be, and I'm just at a classic guppy stall where you have a whole variety of guppies, which is used for various different dishes, whether it's for stir fries and curry pastes, for relishes or whatever. And they have the various qualities. You've got things from little baby plankton squid with the eyes mashed up. These are from middle-sized prawns, kiao, young di. I don't know what that is because my Thai is not good enough clearly. This is from little fatty prawns. This is from a local canal. It just gives you all the varieties and even ages.
The prawns are mashed up with some salt and left to ferment for a week or so in the sun. It's then put into an earthenware pot and left to mature for several months.
And that's the reason why you have these shapes, because they maintain the traditional shapes of what they were once stored in. There are some varieties of guppy that are more popular than others. For instance, this mangung would be great in a curry or indeed in a stir fry. This one here, this pinker one, suggests a more youthful guppy because as guppy gets older, many Thais consider it gets better, it gets more mellow, it gets more richer, it becomes more complicated, a little bit like a wine in a bottle.
And despite its dark looks and dank smell, guppy is used liberally in the home and on the streets. And here, at the edge of the market, I'm about to stir-fry some fish, a freshwater tilapia cooked with some of my guppy.
Pat guppy is a stir-fry of fish with some green beans and some shrimp paste and an insane amount of chilies. It takes a little bit of time to prepare, but you need to have each stage ready to go as you add it to the wok. I'll start now by filleting my fish.
Using a sharp knife, cut down the back of the fish while lifting the fillet away from the bone.
I'm cutting this into slightly larger pieces because, as you can see, the flesh of the fillet is not that deep.
Marinate the fillet in some fish sauce with a pinch of sugar.
Now I'll make the paste, which is a coriander root with some shallots, a little bit of wild ginger, and a nice amount of chilies. I like chilies, I like them hot. Now I will pound them.
Add your ingredients, one at a time, starting with the coriander root and a pinch of salt.
And there we have it, our paste. I need some green peppercorns. If you can't find them fresh, look, don't worry. As long as you've got your chilies and your garlic, I think it will make a very successful stir fry. Some sliced kuchai, wild ginger, a few kaffir lime leaves. Components almost there. The final thing I need to do will be to add some shrimp paste. This is guppy mixed with a little bit of water and a little bit of palm sugar, a little bit of white sugar as well. Again, even though this is a rather complicated stir fry, it still will happen quite quickly. So consequently, you need to have everything assembled, ready to go. Now,
Heat the wok, then add some vegetable oil, lard, or a mixture of both if you wish. Now add the prepared fish.
it has an inviting colour, I have to say. Now, some Thais in some markets will cook their fish to get a crunchy texture because the fish is seen as a textural component rather than as the principal ingredient.
When the fish is cooked, take it out. Meanwhile, blanch the beans.
Add the paste. You can smell the guachai, you can smell the garlic, and you can smell the chilies, certainly, as they begin to cook and start to caramelize and go golden brown. Then add the shrimp paste. And if it needs to be moistened, add just some of the blanching water. You can see how the fish is cooking.
Now add some shredded wild ginger, that's guachai, some green peppercorns, some Thai basil, and of course some extra chilies.
And there we have it, a robust dish, a fierce dish, an impressive dish, a flavoursome dish, a dish that's full of chilies and wild ginger and sustainable fish.
Next on Thai Street Food, some of Thailand's great sauces and condiments, and squid fishing on the high seas. Sirachar is about 120 kilometres to the southeast of Bangkok, and it's famous for its seafood. I've been coming here for many years, and there's one stall that I find particularly appealing. Kun Ning runs it with her daughter.
เราชอบกินเราก็เลยทำอาหารที่เราชอบมันไม่มีก้างมันเป็นกระดูกอ่อนคือเด็กๆเล็กๆก็กินได้แล้วมันก็ไปทำอย่างอื่นได้สมมุติเรากินทอดเราก็ไปผัดพริกก็ได้หรือเราจะไปทำแบบยำก็ได้มันได้หมดอ่ะไปทำต้มยำก็ได้
Okay, here we go. This is a rather fresh skate. Many Thais don't like eating this type of fish because they believe it's just that little bit too sinister and it reminds them of spirits or ghosts, superstitious buggers even when they're in the seas. So, you turn over your skate, cut the skate's tail off, get rid of that, or pop up then take the liver out and take the innards out too. It is particularly wonderful to put your finger inside a skate in order to lift out its guts at this time in the morning. Then Ning is just going to throw it in the oil and deep fry it for probably 10 minutes, and but not at too high a heat, I have to say, because what she wants to do is to cook it completely so the rather gelatinous bones become even softer.
Ning's stall is so popular that she sells out by early afternoon.
ชอบกินอะไรที่สุด
ของทะเล
ของทะเลเหรอ
ใช่
เป็นของศิรชาจริง
ใช่
ๆขอบคุณมากครับ
ใช่
I think the perfect accompaniment to Ning's fried skate is sourced from this province, Sriracha. Kun Griachat's family has been making it in this eccentric factory for over 100 years, using the same unique recipe.
Kookily enough, you don't even know the recipe, do you?
I don't know. Most of the operation is run by our workers. And you know, the recipe for chili sauce is not like that of an atomic bomb. You know, it's no secret, as I tell you the truth.
Fish sauces are fundamental, essential in all aspects of Thai cooking and seasoning. And there are many factories throughout Thailand that make it.
To achieve the best quality fish sauce, you have to achieve the best quality anchovies. And that's why I moved myself closer to this part of Thailand.
So Mohammed went to the mountain and you moved your fish sauce
Yeah.
factory to where the fish...
Yeah, I moved myself closer to the sauce, and then I get the fresh anchovies, and I can control it, the freshness of anchovies, and I salt it well.
Because it's so important to get the fish and salt them down within hours of them being caught. Is that not so?
Yeah, within an hour and a half.
I'm sure that fish sauce runs in Kun Bart's veins. You see, his family's been making fish sauce for over 120 years. Bart uses traditional methods tempered with modern technology. He salts his fish for over a year and a half, and it breaks down into a minerally brine. It's then mixed with sugar and pasteurized before being bottled.
We use like the soybeans that grows in northern of Thailand, so it's not imported or anything. And it's a good quality soybean. And then we actually steam them and use rice instead of wheat, so it's
Oh, I see.
actually gluten-free.
Again, it's using scientific technique, modern awareness, and yet obtaining an age-old taste. And that's the beauty of the products that you're playing with or that you're producing at the moment, is that marriage between taste and technique.
Bart extends this approach to all the other sauces he makes. Oyster sauce is another condiment made here in Chantilly.
We just smoke them with teak wood smoke in a chamber, and then after that we just concentrated them with we steam and concentrated it and use as a base to make a oyster sauce, which is so natural and no like artificial flavoring and anything added to it. So whatever the sauce that you taste is a real oyster sauce with the teak smoke.
With such an enticingly high quality product, what else can I do but use it?
And this next dish is a very simple dish indeed. It's just some scallops stir-fried with some oyster sauce and some Chinese broccoli. Ingredients that you'll find in any market throughout the world, but ingredients that are also found here at Mahachai. Now, to prepare the broccoli, because it's just a little old, slice it into bite-sized pieces and we'll blanch it in some water. That will mean that I can stir-fry the scallops and the garlic quite quickly without having to wait until the broccoli itself is cooked. I'll just put that there whilst I prepare a paste, which is just some garlic, coarsely pounded. Now, I'll just put the pounded garlic, and you can see how coarse it is. It's a really loose, rough paste. Now, I'll clean a few scallops. Cut the scallops in half because you see it's such a brisk cooking, such a fast cooking. I need to ensure that the scallops cook. Make sure that your wok is nice and hot. It's pretty bloody hot. So I have my ingredients there. I have my blanched broccoli, I have my garlic, I have my scallops ready to go. Mise en place, done. Now this wok's been on for a while, so it could well burst into flames. Yep, that's hot. That's rather hot. There we go. That's certainly going to be imbued with the breath of the wok. Add a little bit of water. Oyster sauce. Not too much because you don't want to make the stir-fry cloying. Pinch of white pepper, and Bob's your uncle. The stir-fry is done. Have some rice nearby. Don't let this overcook. Stir-fry such as this can be eaten alone, but it's best if it's with several other dishes as well. Simple, easy. You could use scallops, you could use prawns, you could use squid, you could use pork, you could use almost anything to achieve this elemental, versatile stir-fry.
And next on Thai street food, I follow some squid from the sea to the marketplace. And as the sun begins to set, it's time to head out into the Gulf of Thailand.
Dusk has almost disappeared and the sun is gone, and it's really quite chilly on the pier here in Sirachar. Behind me, the fishermen are getting ready, and I'll be joining them in pursuit of their catch.
When the boat is ready, we head out. This is Chonburi, about 100 kilometres out of Bangkok. The skipper, Dat Ju, has been going out on this boat 5 days a week for the last 30 years. But it's quite choppy and nippy out here, and I feel we could be out here for hours. Tonight, like every night, Dat Ju hopes to catch as much as he can to take to the market.
ส่วนมากมีปลาอะไรที่นี่ครับ
ปลาอินทรี
ปลาอินทรีใช่ไหมครับ และ
ก็ปลาอินทรีปลาสาก
ปลาสาก
ปลาเก๋า
ปลาเก๋าด้วยใช่ไหมมีปลาทรายไหมครับ
ปลาทรายก็มี
He'll use spotlights to lure squid and crab to the surface before using a variety of techniques to bring them on board. Catching squid by line is difficult, but netting can produce up to 20 kilograms. It's hard work, and as you can see, I don't have my sea legs. I think it's better I cook.
It's a simple dish. It's a dish of the freshest squid imaginable, grilled over charcoal and with the simplest of sauces, a num jim, which is just some pounded garlic with some chili, lime juice, fish sauce and a bit of white sugar. Really, really simple. What I need to do is to cut this squid just down the center, just along its belly, and open it up. Then just simply pull out the innards and then try and pinch away the cartilage of the squid, and then just cut down the center. So there is our little squid, almost ready to grill. Sauce, the essence of simplicity. 1 or 2 coriander stalks, pound with some salt. The salt acts as an abrasive and also acts as a seasoning component. Add some chilies, add some garlic. You really don't need to pound the garlic or the chilies up too much at all. They need to be in there, they need to offer texture as well as flavour. If I pound the chilies up too much, the sauce will be devastatingly hot. Add some lime juice, some white sugar, and some fish sauce. How simple is that? I want this to be quite sour and salty and a little sweet. You see, the thing about Thai food, and this sauce in particular, is that there is implicit versatility, where if you want to make it spicier, you can add more chilies. If you want to make it sour, you add more lime juice. If you want to make it sweeter, you can add more white sugar. In fact, I'm going to make it just that little bit spicier because I suspect the captain of this ship is a salty old sea dog and can probably take a more robust sauce. That's not too bad. It doesn't need chili. Oh no, it doesn't need chili. But it does need a little bit of sugar, and it doesn't need chili. Not at all. But it does need some lime juice. We'll now cook the squid. Won't take terribly long. Now, Thais will tend to cook their seafood, all their seafood, until it's completely cooked. I'm of 2 minds, I have to confess. I do like my squid very tender, but I also like the smokiness and the crunch, especially when it's char grilled, such as it is now. The squid is almost there. You want to let it caramelise a little bit. It will have that smokiness That was a perfect complement to the num jim. Do be careful though not to overcook it because it will start to toughen and become quite dry. Slice into some nice pieces and serve it simply and easily with no unnecessary garnish, just the perfectly grilled squid, fresh from the sea, some spicy, memorable num jim. What else do you need but a beer? And that's exactly what I'm about to have because I think I deserve it.
I wanted to give him a beer. I certainly needed one. But alas, there was none as the director drank it all. So all I have to offer the skipper is some of my squid. I suspect, though, he needs a few more chilies. The catch is rather meagre. It's the low season. The yield is much less than what the fishermen would like.
หมายถึงว่าปลาหมึกอะไรเงี้ยพวกนี้จะหายากอะค่ะแต่ได้มาก็คือก็ต้องมีทำเรือทำอะไรไปทำอวนอะไรเงี้ยมันก็ถั่วกันไปอะค่ะแต่ทีนี้มันถือว่าเป็นอาชีพ
Regrettably, stories like this are becoming all too common. I too have seen a reduction of fish in its variety and size over the last 20 years.
I think one of the concerns that I have, along with many other people, is the depletion of fish stocks that's occurring throughout the world, but in particular Thailand. Also now, the types of fish that are available were once fish that were discarded as being bait or burley, certainly second-rate fish, but now because of the lack of availability of the prime quality fish, those second-rate fish are now coming into the fore. Responsible, though, using that once considered second-rate fish might be, it's also a sad indication of the depletion of stocks overall. Kun Sirasar is an ex-Greenpeace campaigner who knows far more than I ever could about the depletion of fish stocks here in Thailand.
Overfishing in Thailand, the main issues are commercial fisheries. The catch from trawlers, only 40% of the catch they're catching go to human consumption. 60% of the catch is what is called trash fish. That means that they're non-targeted species or they're too small for human consumption. They're going out day by day, they're thinking more is better. I'll start catching now no matter how small the fish are because I have to earn a living, I gotta make profit to pay for this gas. But often they don't think about the future of the ocean. By 2050, we'll have no more fish in the oceans worldwide. So if we don't improve our practices, we don't change consumer habits, we don't change fishing methods, we're heading that way and it could never return.
Overfishing is a very serious and complex issue which must be addressed. My love for this country and its people has led me to have a great respect for its history, but it also makes me terribly concerned about its future. Seafood of all kinds plays an important role in all aspects of Thai cooking, but if we're not careful, future generations will not be able to enjoy this same bounty. Next week on Thai Street Food, it's a la carte on the carts, and it's made at Dam Sung stalls just like this one. Join me as I join the Thais who eat in places just like this every day.